This is a big enough occasion, I have to kind of write this down. But I do want to thank everyone for being here for the celebration of 50 years of computing at UNT. It is great to see so many old friends and current colleagues on this occasion to mark this significant anniversary. About a year ago, I was gathering information for a prospective move of our academic computing services offices to a new location here in Sage Hall. I was curious to know how long computing had occupied the Information Sciences building, which, just for confusion's sake, is now named Sycamore Hall. In the process, I ran across a timeline of computing center history, and it began with the following entry. 1962. IBM 1620 purchased to support academic users. That piqued my attention. The 1620 had 20K, which now works out to be about 10K bytes as we know it. Which I don't think is enough even to store your name these days. The printer was the operator's console, which was an IBM electric typewriter. The first director of academic computing, Gene Milner, was hired. His office in the IBM 1620 was located on the first floor of the Business Administration Building in the area now, as of the timeline, occupied by the BA, RJE, and microcomputer labs. For those folks who don't know where the Business Administration Building is, okay, it's not many. You're standing in it. But it's now named Sage Hall because Business has a beautiful new building, which if you haven't seen, you should go over and look at one of these days. So after doing a little math, it was clear that 2012 would mark a significant anniversary of academic computing and the establishment of centralized computing here at UNT. And I also realized that since joining academic computing in 1987, I've experienced 25 years, actually exactly half, of the computing-centered history firsthand, a fact that made me feel suddenly very old. But I'm glad to be here. Gene Milner only stayed in this position 1 year, but before that he hired two very bright young men. One was named Richard Harris, and the other one was named Jerry Walden. I mentioned these two guys because they went on to really shape a lot of the development of computing here at UNT. Richard was eventually hired as the new full-time director of the Computing Center, and the rest really is history. It was clear after doing the math that we needed to mark this point in history with some kind of public acknowledgement. So here we are today, gathered in the very building where it all started. And by the way, Jerry had the answer to my original question. He wrote in an email, according to a calendar I have from 1970, we closed the academic center at 1700 on 3/11/70, prepared to move to the new center on 3/12/70, and moved to the new center on Friday, March 13th, 1970, and he has oops in parentheses, the day that the 36050 arrived. So if you know Jerry, you won't be surprised that he still has a 1970 calendar. But we're glad he does, because I was able to verify some very important information about UNT computing history. So again, welcome, and I'm going to jump from the past to the present and bring to the podium John Hooper.
So I just wanted to welcome everybody here today. This is a great occasion, and it's great to see so many familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. I guess first thing, I have some greetings and remarks from Michael DiPaolo, who's the UNT Vice Chancellor and CIO. He wanted to extend his greetings to us today. He couldn't be here. He's at a conference in Waco, so I didn't know they had a lot of conferences in Waco, but that's where, so hopefully he's having a big time. But it says UNT has been working on the forefront of technology for the last 50 years. Who would have thought 50 years ago we'd be providing 50,000 plus credit hours online? 50 years is not a long time for technology of any kind to mature, and we've seen and experienced huge changes, but there are many more to come. The next 50 years will see changes in computing of a magnitude much greater than we've seen in the last 50 years. UNT will continue to live in a forward-looking computing environment for the foreseeable future, These changes that have occurred in 50 years are enormous and have altered the way universities function. If you are a part, or have been a part, for many of you here, of the development, acquisition, support, or operations of computing for UNT, the past was exciting, the future is exciting and ever-changing. I'm looking forward to all the changes that will occur. I hope you are too. Congratulations to UNT for continuing to use technology to better support education. So those were the remarks from Michael. I guess I had a few remarks myself, and looking out at this crowd, I thought about the quote of following in the footsteps of giants, and that's what I'm looking at this crowd. There are a lot, I won't call you dinosaurs, I guess I'll call you giants. There are a lot of people that taught me a lot of things and helped me with many things over the years and made this place what it is, and I'm so excited and grateful that so many of you came out today to join us. So many trailblazers here. So what can you say about 50 years? And I want to say this is about 50 years of computing at UNT. This isn't about 50 years of the Computing Center or CITC. I think it's about 50 years of achievements by outside of those organizations at UNT in general. I see people like Tim Christian and Genghis here who've been leaders in things that have been done with IT here, and Patrick from CLEAR. So there are many folks here that have been trailblazers, and it's really about celebrating all that. But what do you say about computing? I thought, well, what do you say about 50 years here? Is it about the place? Is it about UNT? I remember coming here, I guess the first time about 30 years ago, and it was, sort of a nice sized place and a pleasant town to live, and I was excited to be here, and I enjoyed the people I worked with, and I think that's still true today about, it's a nice place to work and a nice university. And I thought, well, is it about organizations? And I could go through the whole alphabet soup of CITCs and UITs and ITSSs and DCSMTs, and I think we have done a good job of organizing and both and collaborating across those organizations over the years. But is it about technology? Yeah, it's about technology. We've done a lot of exciting things. We were some of the first people to do voice response registration. We've done a lot with virtualizations and distance learning, single sign-on. I came here from an oil company and the first time, and they were just going online, and I got here and we already had online stuff here. So we've always been leaders in technology. But what it's really about to me is the people in this room is what's made IT at UNT special. Is all of you. Sort of what I came here and I learned was the people here are really committed not only to their craft or their specialty or what the technology is they deal with. They've always been committed to the university as well. Of course, we have recent examples that I wish we weren't experiencing, but we've been having some challenges. And I have guys that work deep down in the bowels of the technology that are worried about what's the response time in the distance learning system. And so I guess I really appreciate that we have people like that here that are committed and concerned about the services we provide. I've also always been impressed by the talent here. There have been people that have left here and gone other places, some of them that had only been here and they've gone other places and come back and told me, well, I didn't realize how good we were until I went somewhere else. And and I'm looking around this room, I think that's true of all the talent we've had here and the things we've been able to accomplish. Another thing I've always valued here is, and this cuts across all the IT groups, is the support we give each other. When we have problems or issues to deal with, we all pretty well pitch in, and work together on those. We don't, sit in silos or point fingers. We've always had a history of, we all roll up our sleeves together and work on those things together. And finally, I think we've had a good history of collaborating with each other, partnering with each other, across IT organizations with our customers, our users, and that's always been something I've enjoyed here. Anyway, I think all the credit for all those things I just listed goes out to all of you all in this room. So I guess I would ask that all of you all give yourself a round of applause for all your contributions to. So I guess with that, I think my job is done, and I wanted to I wasn't going to try to tell any stories because we have two storytelling masters coming up to follow me. So we'll have a poll later to see how much of this we think is true. But I think we'll start with, we have Richard Harris, I think, is going to come up first. And